Hey guys, what's up? This is Kingelffe, and today we're going to be going over how to build the custom designed modular iron farm that you see working behind me here. So, without further ado, let's get into a testing world. Today's video is going to be broken up into 3 separate parts, each of which will be timestamped in the description. So the first part is going to be the tutorial on how to build the farm you see behind me, as well as each individual module. The second part is going to be the mechanics behind the farm, and the third part is going to be how to debug the farm in case it breaks on you. So let's start with step 1. How do you build a module? To build one module of this farm, you're going to need the materials in this chest here. You're going to need 3 beds, a bit over a stack and a quarter of stone, 3 of any workstation. I prefer the loom because they look pretty cool. 16 trapdoors, 11 fence gates, 2 sticky pistons, 2 slabs, 3 villagers, a zombie, a name tag to make sure your zombie doesn't despawn, 2 buckets of water, and about a stack of walls. So we're going to grab all these materials and we're going to start building a module. Alright, so step 1 is you're going to place all of your workstations along the front. Then you're going to grab 6 stone and come out the back like this. That way you have a place to put your beds. So you're going to place all your beds with the pillows facing towards the workstations. That way when your villagers get out of bed, they're on top of the workstations. Now you want to make sure that they always pop up on this center block here. And to do that, you're going to take your trapdoors and you're going to cover all the beds. Now you're also going to cover these 2 outermost workstations, and you're going to go up to the level of the bed as well. And now you're going to want to make sure that your villagers don't walk off the edge of your platform. So to do that, you're going to place 6 more trapdoors like this and open them. That way you have trapdoors along the bottom of the workstation and the block just above. Alright, now you're going to want to come out the back here and you're going to build your zombie module. So, you're going to build out 2 blocks and get rid of this block connecting the module to the zombie. And then you're going to encase him. So, you're going to build up like so. And you're going to cover the top as well. That way he doesn't burn in the daylight. Now you need a block in front of the zombie module like this. That way he can be toggled whether he's looking at the villager or not. And you're also going to take one of your slabs and you're going to place it along the bottom like this. This is so that your zombie doesn't walk off the edge when this block is retracted. Now you're going to take your 2 sticky pistons and you're going to place them in these positions here. So the first one is facing inwards towards this block. That way you can toggle it. And the second one is going to be looking at this bottom block that the zombie is standing on. So we're going to be toggling this at night. That way we can make the zombie actually see the villager at night, because if we're still toggling this block, then the zombie will be looking straight and the villagers will be beneath the trapdoor and won't be able to see the zombie. So the panic mechanic won't trigger, and I'll talk a little more on that later. So we're going to hook that up to redstone later. Now you're going to take your stone again, and from this top block of the zombie module, you're going to build out 6 more blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And from that, you're also going to go out 4 blocks in either direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you fill this in. Alright, your module should look something like this now. If you're playing in survival, this is going to be a good time to get your villagers and your zombie in. So the order I would suggest doing it in is get your zombie first. So what I would suggest doing is having a rail going over the last block of the spawning platform here and just drop him into this area right here. So I'm going to throw my zombie in there, and we're going to use our name tag to make sure that he doesn't despawn. Otherwise you're going to be real sad later. I did get him, right? Yeah, I got him. Cool. Now you're going to want to get your villagers into place. Do the same thing. Just cart them along this 3rd block from the end here and drop them into the center here. So I'm going to throw my villagers down here. And they will detect the workstations and the beds. Cool. So now you've got your villagers and your zombie in place. You're going to want to finish your spawning platform here. So grab your walls and surround the entire platform except for the front. Alright, cool. You should have something like this now. So you might want to grab a few extra blocks because this will make the fence gates easier to place. So I'm just going to throw a row of blocks like so. Now you're going to take your fence gates and you're going to place them along the front here. And you're going to open all of them as well. And make sure you get rid of your temporary blocks if you place them. Cool. Now you're going to take your water and you're going to place it along the back wall here. Don't actually click the back wall or you'll waterlog the wall and it'll just fall. And if you have your redstone already, it'll destroy that. And it'll just be bad news all around. But this module right here is now complete with the exception of the redstone, which I'll show you in a sec here. But if we grab a lever and we turn the time to night, that way they can sleep. And we'll turn it back to day. Cool. Now they've slept and worked in the last 24 hours. So if I were to retract this piston here. Okay, I have to hit that again. There we go. We should see an iron golem spawn right here. Perfect. So this module is now complete. So I spent some time running the carpet mod on this guy here, and this one module will produce between 275 and 300 iron per hour, which is pretty good on its own. This is a pretty small farm, but we can definitely expand it. So the next part here, I'm going to show you how to do side-by-side modules, and you can expand that as far along as you want. So if you come down to the workstation here, you're going to place 9 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is where you're going to start building your new module. So place your 3 looms and repeat all of the previous steps. Now you should have something that looks like this. Notice that I didn't place the walls on this side. That's because we're going to destroy the wall on this side of the first module, and we're actually going to connect these up. So this is going to provide a few more possible spawning places for the golems, and it's also going to just make your entire thing look better. So we'll place those there. And we'll get some fence gates in the middle there. And then just come down here and destroy your temporary blocks. And that's how you expand the farm horizontally. Alright, so now that you know how to expand the farm horizontally, let's look at how to expand it vertically. Come down to the workstations here and place a block above the workstation. So from here, you're going to want to go up 14 blocks. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then beside this 14th block, you're going to place your next set of workstations. So like this. And then you're going to repeat the process from below up here. And after building the modules, you should have something that looks like this now. So you now have 4 modules of the farm, and don't forget to destroy your temporary blocks, and this part is done. Alright, now let's move on to the redstone of the build. So you have 2 sets of pistons on the top and the bottom. You've got the pistons that activate during the night, and you've got the pistons that activate during the day. So we're going to have to hook up a redstone line to both of those. So just run a set of blocks beside your pistons, and for the top row you're going to go to the center block here, and you're going to run a row of blocks across like that, and then you're just going to lead a couple blocks into the back of the piston here. And I'm just going to mention this right now, I am not the best with redstone. There's definitely a better way to do this, and if you know of one, feel free to throw it in the comments below so that everyone can benefit from it. Alright, now that you got the blocks for your redstone placed down, you're actually going to throw down some redstone. So you're definitely going to need repeaters to make sure that the signal strength stays consistent all the way down. What I do for this top section here is I put a repeater behind each of the zombie modules, and for the bottom part here, I like to put a repeater before each of the pistons. So once you've done that, just run some redstone along the rest of the blocks, and you should be good, and make sure you get the redstone to the pistons over there too. Alright, now that you got your redstone laid out for the pistons, you're going to need to actually control that redstone. So come down to the bottommost layer of your farm, whatever that is, and come out a few blocks from here, and you're going to want to build a platform that is 8 blocks long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're going to want to make it 12 long. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and fill this in. Alright, now that you got a big platform to work with, come to the back of it, and we're going to build an etho hopper clock. So put 2 pistons facing into each other, like this, and then have two comparators coming out of either side, a repeater coming out of that, and then redstone coming around the corner like this on both sides. Then you're going to take your sticky piston and you're going to have them facing towards each other, if I can get it to work. There we go. And you're going to place a redstone block on one of these areas here. I'm not going to place that yet because that'll activate the entire thing. So next step is we're going to have a redstone signal coming out of one of these blocks. That'll be when it's active. So have the redstone coming out two like this. Then we're also going to need our daylight sensor. So 2 blocks in front of the redstone, place that. And the redstone is going to come out in either direction like so. So we're going to leave that where it is for now, and we're going to go to the daylight sensor. So have a signal coming out of the daylight sensor like this, and then we're going to have this going to 2 NAND gates. So we're going to have those built here and here. So on one of them, we're going to have a repeater going into the block, and on one of them, we're going to have a redstone signal going into the block. We're going to have a torch on the top like this, and this one here, we're only going to have 1 torch on the side here. So on this one here, we're going to have 2 redstone like this, and we're going to have 1 redstone in the middle on this one. Now we're going to want to connect this redstone up to the remaining torches, and then we're going to throw a repeater in the center on either side. So basically the right hand side here is going to only activate at night, so that's going to control our bottom row of pistons, and the left hand side here is only going to activate during the day, so that's going to activate our top row of pistons here. And during the night, this piston on the top here will stay extended. That way the zombie can never walk off the edge or anything like that. And yeah, we just have to connect these guys up to these lines here now. So go ahead and grab some blocks. And like I said, this one here, we're going to want to hook up to the right side. So just run a redstone signal to that. And this one here, we're just going to want to hop up a few blocks to this guy here, and then just run a redstone signal to that. And make sure that your redstone signal actually reaches all of these blocks. Okay, so we've got this bottom set of modules all hooked up to the redstone, but now we have to hook up the top row as well, and any other rows that you have above. So you're just going to repeat this process for any further modules that you have vertically. And also at this point, I would suggest throwing an extra block down on either of these and grabbing a lever and just hard powering it for now. That way you don't have your zombies popping up at random points during your building phase. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run some elevators going up. It's up to you how you want to do this. You can use slime block elevator for conveying redstone. I don't know how to do that, so we're going to stick with a simple slab elevator. So we're going to come out a block like this. We're going to throw a repeater signal into that just to make sure the strength is as high as it can possibly be. And we're going to do an old school Minecraft redstone elevator. So alternating top slabs. These are kind of a pain to make, especially in survival. But we want to make sure that goes up to this guy right here. So I'm just going to do that. And then, like I said, alternating top slabs with redstone on top of it. Alright, and provided you did everything properly, you should have just enough signal strength to get to the top here. If it was 1 block further, then this repeater would not activate. So that'll be a good indication as to whether or not you built your platforms at the proper height. So we've got that one hooked up. Now we just have to do the same for the bottom row here. Hook that bottom row up to the other bottom row. Alright, and we'll hook that up, and boom. That's all hooked up now, and make sure you space your elevators out by 1 if you do it the same way that I did. Otherwise, you run the risk of having your redstone connect, and, well, that's just bad news. And with that being said, the redstone here is actually complete. Let me throw the water back into these modules, and we're actually going to activate this. Alright, now come back here to your hopper clock with your redstone block. Throw it down on the opposite block from the redstone dust, and throw 64 items into your hopper clock. That should activate it, and now we're just going to wait for that spawn. Oh yeah, and don't be a derp like me. Remember to deactivate these levers once you're ready to actually test it. And there it is, 4 iron golem spawns. So that should trigger every 35 to 40 seconds. And obviously you're going to have to build a killing pit down at the bottom. I'll show you what I've got going on over here because this isn't necessarily how you have to do it. This is just how I did it. So get creative with how you kill your golems. But I just have a ice stream with a water path leading into a lava death pit. And then obviously you'd want to have the lava a little bit higher so that your iron doesn't burn, and some hoppers below it leading into a storage system of some sort. But yeah, make sure you build a wall in front of your modules as well. Otherwise, your iron golems may not fall into your death trap. So do it like I did it here. Have it 2 to 3 blocks out from the end of your water stream, and you should be good. And yeah, that's how you build this guy. See, look, we got another set of spawns already. And like I said before, this is a modular farm, so I only have 4 built here, but you can do it like I have on the other side there. You can have 2 rows of 6, making 12 modules. You could do it another row higher, making it 18 modules. Instead of having 6 on each layer, you could have 10 on each layer, and as many of these modules as you want. That's how many iron golems you'll get spawning each time. It is also worth mentioning that this entire thing does not have to be built above ground. You can have a significant portion or the entire thing underground. What I did on the Enigma server was I actually have the ground level at the same level as the first set of spawning chambers. Just make sure that if you do that, you spawn-proof the area around the farm, because you may have a stray golem spawn on like this block right here, or these 2 blocks right here. Right out from the glass, they're valid spawning spots as well, so make sure to either dig them out or slab them. Alright, and that concludes the tutorial part of the video. We're going to move on to talking about mechanics and how to debug this farm as well, but in case some of you don't stick around till the end of the video, I'm going to mention it now. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. But yeah, we're going to talk about some of the mechanics behind this farm now. First, let's talk about the design of the modules. So I have trapdoors on top of the beds, as well as 2 of the 3 workstations. This is to force the villagers into a 1-block area, and let me show you why that's useful. You may have seen this design here before in other iron farms. So you'll have a thing like this, and when the villagers get out of bed, they'll get into these areas right here. So the villager can be standing either here, here, or here. So the reason that this is a little less efficient than my design is because the village modules have to be a certain distance apart for them to try and attempt to spawn a new iron golem. So because there's 2 blocks this way that they can stand and 2 blocks this way that they can stand, the modules have to be a little bit further apart. So by forcing them into a 1-block area, you're allowing yourself to build the modules a little bit closer together, and that's why mine is a little bit more compact than some other designs out there. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the redstone in this design here. So, as I mentioned before, I have a piston activating at night, and I have a piston activating during the day. So the reason for that is if I turn on hitboxes here with F3 and B, when we activate during the day, this piston here retracts, right? And that'll give the zombie line of sight to the villagers, and that'll allow an iron golem to spawn. But during the night, we're going to switch to times at night. If I were to get rid of this block here and simulate the piston retracting, then the zombie doesn't have line of sight to the villagers anymore because they're not up here anymore. They're down here below the trap doors. So, rather than retracting this piston at night, we retract this piston at night, and the zombie will drop, and his head will be at this level here, and he'll have direct line of sight to the villagers again. So they'll pop out of bed, and they'll be panicking, and they'll be able to spawn another iron golem. So that's why I have 2 different rows of pistons rather than just one on a traditional iron farm design. It's because of how I designed the modules. a thing that people may be looking at this farm and thinking that they can improve is, what if you replace these blocks here with packed ice or blue ice, because then the iron golems would fall off the edge a lot faster, right? Well, there is a reason that I didn't use ice, and it's not just because that would be super expensive for 2 of these platforms. It's because of how the iron golem spawning works. So basically, this farm operates on the assumption that every single one of these modules is going to spawn a golem at the exact same time. So because I have these guys so tightly packed together with my module design, these guys here, so they're right here, they're going to be able to spawn 4 blocks out in either direction from the center here, right? But these guys here, they can detect golems up to 8 blocks in either direction from themselves. So they're right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a little bit of overlap. So let's say these guys here, they spawn a golem first, and they spawn him in this block right here. And this module here, it takes a second for the zombie to detect the villagers due to server lag or some glitch or something. Because this module has already spawned an iron golem in an area that intersects with these guys' detection algorithm, these guys are not going to spawn an iron golem this time round. So you're only going to get 11 golems out of the potential 12. And also, let's say something like that happened for the bottom row, right? So these guys here, they both spawn a golem here, and you have this entire platform as ice. These guys are going to shoot off the edge really quick, right? So now let's say that this module here and this module here have the same issue that I was telling you about before. A little bit of server lag. These guys don't detect the villagers soon enough. So these guys come rocketing off the edge here, and they fall down. And once they're within that 16 block detection radius, these guys are no longer going to spawn a golem during this spawning cycle. So you're now only going to get 10 out of the potential 12 that you wanted. So that's why I chose to use regular blocks instead of ice here. And that's also a problem that you may run into on occasion, even with this design, depending on how bad your server lag is. So just keep that in mind if you're getting some spawns that aren't exactly what you're expecting. It may just be due to some server lag. And lastly, let's talk about why I have the kill chamber so low down. So these guys right here, like I said, they have a 16 block detection radius, so 8 blocks down as well as 8 blocks up, as well as 8 blocks to either of the 4 cardinal directions. So when these guys are falling, they're going to detect the iron golems, right? So you want them to fall far enough down that when they're in the water streams, these guys are no longer detecting them in their spawning algorithm, because it takes 30 seconds from when a villager last detected an iron golem to be able to spawn another one. So let's say these guys take a second to get off the edge here. They're falling. These guys detect them, but then they land like right here, and they take a second to get to the killing pit. This may throw off the timing from your hopper clock, because by the time it reactivates, it may have only been 25 seconds since these guys last saw an iron golem, in which case you're probably not going to get a spawn from them this time round. So you want to make sure that your kill chamber is far enough down that these guys have no chance of detecting them while these guys are in the water stream. In this case, I did it 20 blocks down, just to be safe. Alright, it's time to move on to the final phase of the video, and that is the debugging phase. What happens if your iron farm isn't quite working the way that you expected it to? And there are 3 major culprits for this, and the first one we're going to talk about is sleep schedule. So this is especially an issue on multiplayer servers, just because, and this is a problem with every iron farm, not just mine, I'll mention that right now, but villagers need to have slept and worked in the last 24 hours to be able to panic spawn an iron golem. So let's say you have multiplayer sleep on your server, and someone decides to jump into bed right away. There is a chance that not every single one of your villagers will have jumped into bed by the time someone activates the multiplayer sleep. And also, server lag is going to play a part in that as well. You may need a little bit of extra time for your villagers to jump into bed. So if you find that, let's say, your entire top row is spawning golems, but only 2 of your modules on the bottom are spawning golems, it may be the case that 1 or more of the guys in each of these 4 modules hasn't slept in the last 24 hours. And that could be due to server lag, or it could also be due to the hopper timings. So if this block is retracted when it turns to night, it needs to re-extend before the clock will switch over to retracting this block instead. So if these are retracted when it turns to night and someone sleeps using multiplayer sleep, then these guys probably aren't going to sleep. So the best thing to do if you find that you're not getting your full iron golem spawns is wait till night, see if people will wait on sleeping for a little bit, make sure each of these guys gets into bed, and then go ahead and sleep, and when you get up, all of your golems should be spawning. So issue number 2 that I found is timing. So this is a good way to counteract the whole server lag thing. So if your golems are taking a little bit of time to spawn and fall off the edge, you may find that you need a little bit of extra time in your hopper clock. So if that's the case, come over to here and need some blocks. Add an extra 8 blocks into your hopper clock timer, and that should counteract the issue, but just add or remove blocks until your timing is perfect for whatever your server situation is. And this could also be client-side as well if your computer isn't running the best specs, or if you're running a lot of stuff in the background, you could get client-side lag as well. And just adding or removing a few items should do the trick. And the third debugging technique that I found is that if you built this partially underground and partially above ground, like I did, and you have the floor level, say, right here, you've got to make sure that you spawn-proof some of the blocks outside of your structure. So, for example, these blocks right here, they're going to be valid spawning areas for iron golems. And if an iron golem spawns here, then you're going to deactivate these 2 pods right here. And if this guy starts wandering and he comes over here, you're going to start deactivating these pods and wherever the iron golem wanders to. So just go around and spawn-proof parts of the base around your iron golem spawner. So you can either slab them or you can dig them out down to the same level as your kill chamber. And also the 2 blocks that you especially have to look out for are the 2 blocks right in front of the spawner, because these 2 are 100% spawnable spaces for iron golems, and these are the 2 I've had the most trouble with in the past. So what I usually do is I dig them straight down, but once again, you could also slab them over, or button them, or pressure plate them, or whatever tickles you fancy. Obviously, there are a bunch of little bugs and errors that can happen when building this as well. So you want to make sure that you've spaced all of your platforms out properly. Make sure that there's 9 blocks between each of these platforms here, or 11 between each center block. Make sure that from this block here, it is 14 blocks up to the next spawning chambers. And also you want to make sure, and this is a problem that I actually had when I was building it in survival, that you don't build the spawning platform for the golems too high, because if you build this spawning platform 1 higher, A, you're going to throw off the spawning for your top platform, and B, your villagers have a chance to get out of bed on top of the trapdoors and just wander off the edge, and then you've got to get them back up here somewhere, or if they die, then you've got to get new villagers. So watch out for user error when you're building this as well. That's one of the main causes of issues. And just like with anything else, there are 101 little things that no one can predict that could go wrong. So if you have those issues, throw them in the comments section. I'll try and answer them if I can, and who knows, if I don't have the answer, maybe someone else will too. So don't be afraid to comment your issues. And I think that's going to do it for this video. There's been a lot of design work and a lot of testing that's gone into this video, so I hope you guys liked it. And a big shout out to my buddy Nitrox for helping me with the redstone for this, because as I mentioned before, redstone is not exactly my area of expertise. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and also make sure to comment and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya!